Greetings, math fans. All right, so this is worksheet 12. And we're going to do a little bit more with imaginary numbers. Okay, so just again, kind of review. Remember, we have I to the 0, I to the 1, I to the 2, and I to the 3. Those are the only ones you have to remember. And you always divide whatever number it is by 4. So if it's I to whatever number this is, you take that number and you divide it by 4. Always, always, always. And then you're either going to have, let's say it's the decimal is 0.00, so no decimal, or you might have 0.25, or you might have 0.50, or you might have 0.75. And remember, the nice little friendly way to remember that this is no quarters, so this is remainder of 0. This is 25 cents, so it's 1 quarter, so remainder 1. This is 2 quarters, 50 cents, so it's remainder of 2. And this is 3 quarters, so it's remainder of 3. And that's how you pick these exponents here as well. Okay, so if I said like I to the, I to the 27th power, you're going to say 27 divided by 4, and that's going to give you 6.75. And you should say, oh, 0.75, that's 3 quarters. So that's I to the 3rd power, and then you have to use your nice little chart. Right, I to the 0 is 1, I to the 1st is I squared is -1, and I cubed is -I. So then you use your chart and you go, oh, okay, cool. The answer is -I. Because remember, no exponents are allowed with an I. Ever, 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 ever. Okay? All right. So we've done problems, the stuff I want to do today, we've done problems similar to them. And you guys, just a little review. If I said, 2 minus root 3 over 4 minus root 5, remember, what do you have to multiply the top and the bottom by? You have to multiply it by the conjugate. Conjugate. Okay, and the conjugate is basically, you look at the denominator here, and you just change the sign. So the conjugate of this one is 4 plus root 5. You multiply the top and the bottom by that. So 4 plus root 5 over 4 plus root 5. So let's just do it just because we need the practice. So 2 times 4 is 8. I'm doing FOIL based with the top. Okay. So 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times root 5 is plus 2 root 5. Inner is minus 4 root 3. And last is minus root 15. Can't simplify that at all. Okay, so that's actually nothing. You can't put anything together on top there. And the bottom, remember, I told you guys, you just have to use, you're using FOIL, but the OI is going to cancel. So you just have to use FL, like Florida, right? So you only have to do Florida, you just don't have to worry about the OI. So if I do first, 4 times 4 is 16. The outside gives me plus 4 root 5. The inside is minus 4 root 5. Again, that cancels. And then it's minus root 5 times root 5 is 5, so minus 5. Okay, so your final answer is 8 plus 2 root 5 minus 4 root 3 minus root 15 all over 16 minus 5, which is 11. Okay, so that's pretty easy. So now what we're going to do is we are going to deal with I, right? And I, remember, I represents the square root of -1. So here's the deal. There's no I in the denominator. Okay, no I in the denominator. The reason there's no I in the denominator because you can't have a square root in the denominator, right? No square root in the denominator. So your goal for, at least for this lesson, is you need to multiply again by the conjugate. So multiply by the conjugate. Okay, and the conjugate is, it's the same thing. So if I said 3 plus I, the conjugate is 3 minus I. If I said 4 minus 3I, the conjugate is 4 plus 3I. I mean, it's real easy. Again, you just change the sign. Change the sign between terms. That's it. So it's real easy. That's what the conjugate is. Okay? So let's do some problems, and I'll show you how easy this is. All right, so if I gave you 2 plus 3i over 4 minus 5i. Okay, so the conjugate is 4 plus 5i. Super easy. Just change that sign. It's always the denominator. So you're going to multiply this by 4 plus 5i over 4 plus 5i. Okay, and of course there's lots of FOIL. Remember the bottom, all you have to do is Florida and ignore the oi. Okay, so if I do the top, I get 2 times 4 is 8. That's first. Outer is 2 times 5i, so plus 10i. Inner is plus 12i. And last is plus 15i squared. Okay, not bad. And the bottom is, remember, it's going to just use Florida. So 4 times 4 is 16. Because if I did outside inside, it would be plus 20i minus 20i, which cancels. Always going to happen. And then it's minus, so 5 times 5 is 25. So it's minus 25i squared. Okay? Remember what I told you. Whenever you see an I squared, this is actually really important. An I squared is always negative 1. So if there's something with an I squared, like a 5i squared, it's negative 5. Because it's 5 times negative 1. So always look for an I squared. So if it's negative 8i squared, that's equal to 8. It's very simple. So see that plus 15i squared? Cross it off and write minus 15. See that minus 25i squared? Cross it off and write plus 25. What? So now you're going to add like terms. So I'm going to basically say 8 minus 15. So that gives me negative 7. And 10i plus 12i is 22i. And on the bottom is 16 plus 25, which is 41. And that's it. You're done with the problem. These are really pretty easy, guys. They really are. So let's do a couple more here. Let's do I minus 4 over 2i plus 3. The conjugate is 2i minus 3. Okay, so we FOIL the top. I times 2i is 2i squared. I times negative 3, that's a negative 3, is negative 3i. Negative 4 times 2i is negative 8i. And negative 4 times negative 3 is positive 12. In the bottom, remember, all you have to do is Florida. So 2i squared plus 2i, or 2i squared times 2i squared is, let me say it one more time. 2i times 2i is 4i squared. And then outside inside cancel, and then it's minus 9. Okay, anything we see in I squared, it becomes negative 2. That becomes negative 4. So negative 2 plus 12, it gives us 10. Just cross out. So it's 10. And negative 3i minus 8i is negative 11i. Over negative 4 minus 9 is negative 13. That's it. Okay, let's do a couple more here. So 5 minus 4i over I plus 2. Okay, conjugate. So it's going to be I minus 2 over I minus 2. So 5 times I, 5i. That's first. Outer, minus 10. Inner, minus 4i squared. And last, plus 8i. Okay, on the bottom, it's just the first. I times I is I squared. Outer, inner, last. Or outer, inner cancel. And then last, 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. Okay, so that's plus 4 here and negative 1. Because that's really 1 I squared, so it's now negative 1. Okay, so let's combine some stuff together here. Negative 10 plus 4 is negative 6. And 5i plus 8i is 13i. Denominator, negative 1 minus 4 is negative 5. And that's it. Done with the problem. Okay, we'll do one more, and then that'll be it. It's not bad. Let's do 6 minus 2i over 1 minus 4i. I mean, these are all the same stuff, right? It's really the same. Conjugate, man. So it's 1 plus 4i over 1 plus 4i. Okay, Let's pull it out. Pretty easy. I'm just going to put parentheses around it. I like putting parentheses. Okay, 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 4i is 24i. Negative 2i plus 1, or times 1 is negative 2i. And negative 2i times 4i is negative 8i squared. Don't forget, I times I is I squared. Okay? And the bottom, 1 times 1 is 1. The outside and inside cancel. And then negative 4i times positive 4i is negative 16i squared. Okay? So that becomes a plus 8. That becomes a plus 16. So 6 plus 8 is 14. 24i minus 2i is 22i. It's a lot of i's. It's scary. And 1 plus 16 is 17. And that's your answer. Okay? Not bad. So that's division with I. Okay, so it's a complex number, basically. Okay, dividing complex numbers. So that's it, math fans. Pretty short lesson. You all have a nice, outstanding day. Adios. Goodbye.